It's Patrick Harder's March 10th. Welcome to the Audacious Nimby. It's never a dull night in Prince William County. Want to welcome everybody to our podcast. First time going live, trying something a little different. Exciting night. Prince William County always has something going on in politics. There's nothing like it. Fairfax, Loudoun, Warren County, Fauquier County, they don't provide the same excitement that Prince William does. And so we had a big election tonight. The Woodbridge district had their election tonight, and this was a shocker. This is something that people did not see coming. A Republican just won in Woodbridge. That's unheard of. Margaret Franklin had gotten promoted, and you heard on this podcast that was one time I was actually cheering for Margaret, and I was excited to see her move on. And she gave us a lot of opposition. She voted for every single data center, voted for a lot of housing sprawl. So the fact that Margaret Franklin moved on was exciting, for me, for those of us who have been in this fighting these data centers. But we had a great campaign. It was a short one. Jeannie LaCroix. I've known Jeannie for many, many years. I think I've known her about 6-7 years, long before either of us ever got involved in anything political. We are always both involved in our communities. She was fighting data center sprawl on the east side. She was fighting housing sprawl on the east side. And I was on the west side. We had a mutual acquaintance. And so I've known her a long time. But tonight, she won the election. It was total votes so far, and it still says that the votes all haven't been verified, whatever. But Potomac Local was the first to break that she is the declared winner, and she had a total of 1,694 votes to Seth Chasm's 1,436. And then we had a writing candidate. So Pam was running. She was kind of the anointed one who did not win in the election, in the primary, and she ended up pulling 704 votes. So that really split the Democrat ticket quite a bit. And, Jeannie ran a great race. I think the biggest thing about Jeannie is she's a good person. She's always shown herself to just have a lot of integrity and, really to stand firm and stand for her community and stand for everybody. So very proud of her, very proud of the win. I made a joke earlier. I'm like, if someone was going to guess about a year ago that Gainesville is going to go Democrat and Woodbridge would go Republican, nobody would have guessed that. And that's what's happened in Prince William County. So you never know what's going to happen. Other things going on in this county. We had a big supervisor meeting on Tuesday. A lot went on there. Believe it or not, we passed another data center. So, we're not done with them yet. Every once in a while, we think like we've gotten to a point that we're not going to have more data centers. And guess what happens? Another one sneaks in. So this was a disappointing one. We thought after Bristow campus that maybe we've kind of turned a corner. We had, supervisors, Bodie and Bailey, both, give motions that maybe the county has had enough. Maybe we're too dependent on one industry. Maybe it's time to start looking at other other industries, not just data centers. And then, even though we thought we had the majority of vote with the open seat in Woodbridge, we ended up losing it. And, my personal feeling, and I'm going to go easy on them a little bit, but it was the Brentsville district that really turned it. And that was the deciding vote. Tom Gordy going for another data center. Obviously, his community is totally against it. His community has been arguing to make certain this doesn't happen. And, it's another data center outside the overlay. So disappointing, but I think some takeaways from it was, first of all, George Stewart gave a phenomenal speech and really impassioned, talking about what the future is, talking about what it means to represent the people. And the best speech of the night, and you got to tune in to go watch it, was Deshandra. We've been waiting for this from Deshandra, and she came out guns blazing. She was not happy about this vote, and she let people know what she wants for the future of Prince William County. So, those were two great speeches, two great supervisors. I joke around about supervisor of the week, and I think Deshandra got it again this week. So she's gone back to back, barely beating out George. But this is what we need from our supervisors. Yesley's been rock solid. And I just got to say, like, on these votes, you know where Yesley's standing. She said, I'm not voting for any more data centers outside of the overlay. She's had that stance for a long time. I'd like her to move and just say no more data centers, but we'll take what we can get at this point. I will say the board is officially shifted, and we're going to begin the election series. The whole season begins next year, so we don't have a lot of time. Even Jeannie LaCroix is probably going to have a couple months to get settled in and then start gearing up for the election next year. But that's politics. So we'll be gearing up for that as well. We'll be talking, everything that's going on in Prince William County. So this podcast is Audacious Nimby. It talks about our backyard. Obviously, the things that go on in other counties affect us, but primarily we're talking about Prince William County. I had a funny story this week. I was at a friend of mine's restaurant. So he's opening up Hunter's Head. If you've ever been to that beautiful little restaurant in Upperville, one of my great customers, good friend of mine, him and his wife put a lot into that restaurant, and they're reopening it, remodeled the inside. It's beautiful. But as I was standing around talking to them about lighting for the restaurant, I said, we're going to be at Sweeney's Barn, which they own Sweeney's Barn, and we're going to be there. And he said, we typically don't do a lot in politics and kind of, stay out of the fray a little bit. And I said, well, we're hosting a political rally at your place. And he said, that's true. He said, but that's fighting data centers. And this woman chimed in and she goes, oh, I hope you're fighting data centers also in Front Royal. And I, went on to tell her, I'm like, well, Prince William is the battlefield. This is where it's all happening. I said, we need everybody's help, but this is where the fight's going on, and we need to stop both housing sprawl and data center sprawl. Prince William County was always set up to be the dividing line between rural Virginia and the rest of Virginia, Northern Virginia. So if we let it sprawl, as I've said for a long time, we look like Charlotte or Atlanta or all these cities that didn't have good foresight and didn't protect the rural areas and said, just let sprawl continue to happen, and didn't get good development. So speaking about that, this Monday coming up, the 16th, we are going to be at Sweeney's Barn. I am hosting as the MC. We're going to have the Coalition to Protect PWC. Elena Schlossberg is going to be there. Ashley Studholm, Vita Carroll, and then myself as the MC. The supervisors are starting to come in. It's going to be a great time. It's like $10. We'll have some food there, some desserts, some drinks. It's going to be a wonderful time. And really what we're going to be talking about is the direction of Prince William County, what this community is going to look like. We're at the tipping point right now. If we don't take the action now to have decisive vision, a decisive board that says, this is what we want and what we don't want is X. So what I mean by that is we don't want sprawl. We don't want any more data centers. We have enough. We have power lines coming in. We have energy bills going up, diesel generators coming in. We have turbines. There's just so much infrastructure that's going to be built. And we're going to have years and years of construction going through our county. So why would we continue to approve these? Doesn't make any sense. We're already double what the county was recommended to build out. We've already doubled that, and we're continuing to fight the data center. So that's step one. Step two is a better vision and preserving open space, preserving rural areas, preserving our watershed. These are all important issues that if we don't take them serious, we're never going to get them back. And so it's going to be an educational meeting, but as we always do, we want things to be fun. It's a positive vision of what's possible in Prince William County. Ultimately, we want our county to be the shining example of what great development can be. We've seen it in other areas. We've seen Montgomery County do some wonderful things years ago. We want to see Prince William be that shining example of great development. I think we have some of the supervisors to make that happen. 3-4 years ago, it was a train wreck. We did not have good supervisors. We had supervisors that represented data centers. That's it. That's all they cared for. We had our 3 supervisors versus the 5 data center supervisors that were bought and paid for, in my opinion. And now we're finally turning the table. Jeannie LaCroix's a great addition. George Stewart's been a great addition. Deshandra has done wonderful. Yesley's been a stalwart. So we need to have the back of those representatives that actually stand up for the people. And we need to get people out. We need to get our neighbors out. Our voices need to be heard. The power is still of the people, as we saw today. there were not a lot of people that wanted Jeannie LaCroix to win. We all did. We were cheering for her and sending her positive messages, and she's great and really had a great upset there. But we need to take advantage of this and really have the agenda that the people want to come through. So great night tonight. Ask you to look into, you could go to Coalition Protect PWC. You can go to my website, audaciousnimby.com. Sign up for our Monday event. We're starting to fill up. So I believe we were at 60 or 70 people signed up already, somewhere in there. So it's going to be a big crowd, and we're excited. There's always people who show up last minute, and make sure you reserve your spot. Makes it a lot easier. We're going to have question and answers. We're going to have some of the supervisors there that, we're going to keep it positive, but to be able to ask them some questions if they show up. And congratulations, Jeannie LaCroix. If you're watching this, can't wait to see you. And Prince William County, it's a town that it's politics that never sleeps. So everyone have a great night. We'll talk soon.